There is a line running through the middle of this story, and everyone standing on it is certain they are on the right side of it. On one side, a teacher who believes humans and mutants can share a world. On the other, a survivor who has stopped believing it. It opens in orbit. A stolen shuttle runs for the dark side of the planet, with military craft closing in behind it. The people aboard are mutants. They are hunting for a refuge that is supposed to be up here somewhere, and their instruments are showing them nothing but empty space. The pursuit asks permission to fire. 150 miles below them is the Soviet Union, and everyone involved is about one mistake away from something much larger. Then every instrument on both sides dies at once, and Magneto is simply there. He takes the ships apart without appearing to try, and explains the only rule that matters up here. He no longer cares what humanity does to itself down below, but he will not let them carry it up to his door. But the hijackers were not running from him. They were looking for him. They call him Lord, offer him their lives, and ask him to lead. He tells them that man is gone, and that they should have looked somewhere else. The world has already decided what he is. In Moscow, a contingency is opened. In Washington, a spy master and a president try to guess what he does next, and whether he will adopt these people and their cause as his own. In a mansion in New York, the man on the other side of that line is losing the same argument with himself. Charles Xavier has been away a long time. He built a school on the promise that the world would soften, and instead it hardened, and some of the children he took in are dead. He asked Jean Grey whether the dream means anything anymore. She tells him that if it did not, none of them would be standing here. Downstairs, his students are training, and the training is not gentle. Rogue works out that the missiles are tracking her specifically, so she takes them for a run and turns them back on the launchers that fired them. Archangel throws Colossus down the gap she opened like a wrecking ball. Jean Grey stops him in midair with a thought. A second squad comes in low, under the sensors. Psylocke, Gambit, and Wolverine, who has never much cared for the word squad. Gambit charges a playing card with kinetic force, blows the wall out from behind Jean Grey, and declares the exercise won. Then he pushes his luck one step further, and she puts him flat on his back. The exercise ends when Wolverine puts 3 blades against the professor's throat. The objective was to reach Xavier. He reached him. Cyclops tells them the world has changed and they will have to be equal to it. Wolverine tells him to skip the speech and walks out. This is the most powerful team on the planet, and it does not yet trust itself. That evening, Nick Fury brings them the shape of it. Magneto is holding a rock in orbit above half the world, and the people underneath it are on a hair trigger. Rogue points out that he stopped the fight and let the survivors live. Storm points out what he was before that. Xavier settles it. The power is real whichever way it turns, and they will be ready for the worst answer. He splits the X-Men into 2 strike teams. In orbit, Magneto is playing host. Soldiers and mutants both. He tells them they are guests, that he saved all of their lives, and that they will behave accordingly. It does not hold. A weapon goes off, a woman named Anne-Marie is killed, and Magneto informs a very frightened Major that he recognizes no law here but the one he chooses to grant, starting with the right to stay alive. And a man steps forward who has been waiting for precisely this. Fabian Cortez grieves with him, agrees with everything he says, and begins, very carefully, to steer. Magneto lifts a sunken submarine off the seabed. The hull is crushed. The missiles in the launch tubes are not. The X-Men are standing on it when he surfaces. Rogue tries talking. Wolverine asks what he intends to do with a boat full of warheads. Magneto answers that every government on Earth prays for the best and prepares for the worst, and that he is no different from any of them. Psylocke strikes first, and his armor turns it aside. Then Wolverine goes at him holding nothing back at all, and Cyclops watches it happen and understands what he is looking at. This is not a fight anymore. Somebody is going to die here, and part of the reason is him. He blasts them apart, and inside the wreck, Magneto finally looks at the men he drowned. Until this moment, he had held them in his head as an abstraction, pieces on a board. Now they have faces. And it takes him somewhere he does not go willingly, to another heap of bodies, and a pit, and a boy underneath them who was somehow still breathing and climbed out anyway. He asks the only question he has left, whether the man they all insist on seeing is really all he is. He takes the missiles and goes up. Rogue goes after him, still trying to reach him. She tells him the plain version. To most of the world he is the story people tell to make mutants frightening. And behaving like that story is what proves it true. He tells her he tried the other road once and paid for it with other people's blood. Then the jets arrive and answer the question for both of them. He tells her the world will never accept them whatever they choose, and sets off a warhead in the upper atmosphere. When the light clears, Rogue is gone. Back on the asteroid, he sits with claw marks opened across his chest and asks why blood always ends up between him and everyone else. What actually wounds him is Wolverine, a man who once fought beside him and came at him this time with no mercy in him at all. Cortez has the answer ready, because he has been assembling it since the moment he arrived. There is no room in the world for both dreams, only one of them survives. Rest, he says. Let me heal you, put your fate in my hands. Rogue is alive. She comes round in the ruins of Genosha with Cortez's followers standing over her, offering the only two options they have ever offered anyone: stand with us or lie down. She declines. The rest of the X-Men come through the wall behind her. Nobody wins this one. A teacher's dream is on trial, and he is the one who put it there. A survivor has been handed every reason to stop trying, by a man who wanted him to stop trying. The line is drawn now, and everyone standing on it still believes they are right.